But I'm going to wait till everybody's quiet. We're going to be our teachers both up here. We are ready to begin. Leave it on you.
They're not tired of hearing you.
Sarah, can we close that door?
Should I do a kindergarten thing? Everybody put your finger on your nose if you're listening. I'm Julia Gary. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama. I graduated with an elementary ed degree, and I have a minor in early childhood. And when my first daughter was in pre-K, my husband got out of engineering school, and I said, see ya, to 10 years in the public school system, and started in with pre-K and homeschooling my kids. So I've been teaching professionally and not unprofessionally, but in my sweatpants for 16 years now. It's wild. So one of the things that I wish when I started that I did differently was I wish first that I had given myself more grace, because I was a reformed school teacher, and so it was school starts on this day in August, and we school every day, and here we're going to have fall break, and this is the time we're taking off for Christmas, and we better start back on this day in January, and this is the curriculum, and we are going to do all of it. Don't do that. Now I have my youngest daughter's in kindergarten, and my oldest two are, I have all girls, and I have a 5th grader and a 6th grader. And now, this week was spring break, because I had to prepare for this. And they're like, what are we doing in school today? And I was like, what YouTube channel do you want to watch? And we watch Smarter every day.
Yes.
It's Destin.
He's
He's a Huntsvillian. We love him.
Yes.
And we watched, for those of you who have little people, there's a YouTube video site called Harry Kindergarten, and it's a man. His last name is Harry, Harry. Mr. Harry. He teaches kindergarten somewhere, but he has wonderful phonics and reading and sight words and songs and fun stuff. So I would give myself more grace to just stop and take a break. I also would not school through the hard days. So let's say you are teaching your child to read, and they're ill, and mama hadn't had enough coffee, and it's just a day, and you're sitting there, and it's like, this is on the lesson plan, we're doing it. Check the box. I wish that I had just closed the book, let them pick a book off the bookshelf, gotten under a blanket on the couch, and just read. Because that's okay some days too. Just to love your babies. And then the next thing and the last thing that I would have done differently is I would have pulled in my grandparents and aunts and uncles, and even husband. My husband is wonderful. He's always into something, but now as the kids are getting older, on Saturdays, we had school 2 Saturdays ago, because he took them into the garage and they used the lathe and made fairy wands. I'm like, that was 2 hours, buddy.
We're good.
And it was also like, you are my favorite person, because all 3 of them were in the garage, and I was not. So, and then my dad is, he's not retired yet, but he's an engineer, and our family, we're just a big, loving, nerdy family, and so he comes over and does experiments with the girls on his
cool.
Fridays off when we're off of co-op. So just a couple of weeks ago, we were stomping something to see how high our rockets would go, and then estimating, the actual area. I don't know. He did it, and I'm gonna let him keep doing it as I get into middle school. So give yourself grace, and know that You don't have to do it all. And let me give you a little secret. In the public school system, they never finish the book. They don't ever finish the book. So if you don't finish the book, and like in Alabama, we have to do 140 days. If you get to 140, close the book. You can. If it's been a hard year, you can stop. But anyway, that's what I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, you will have an opportunity to ask questions after every person has presented. Like at the end, we'll ask questions. We're going to do Dawn next, then Miss Marcia, then Amber.
All right, hello y'all. Good to see everybody here. If I had to do all over again, I wrote stuff down because I thought I'd get lost. So first of all, I'm going to say it's hard to be definitive about what I would do if I had it to do all over again, because I was not the same person then that I am now, and hindsight is 20/20, as we say. We can tend to look at the results of what we did and extrapolate and say, well, if I had done that differently, maybe this thing wouldn't have happened now, or something like that. But if I would go back and say, okay, well, I'm going to change this to fix this thing now, or to make this thing better, or to have given them this opportunity, we don't know what that decision would have led to. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, give yourselves a little grace with what would I've done differently. But I know what we're trying to do with this. So since we homeschool, I'm going to say home things I would have changed. I would have made a better atmosphere for my husband involved in the homeschooling, because I think it became more or less I homeschooled and he provided, and they didn't mesh that much or intertwine that much. It was more when he came home, it was an interruption to homeschooling rather than involving him with it more. So I definitely would have done that. He did things on his own with that, like he taught the kids how to change tires and how to, if the girls were out and had to change their own tire or something like that. And he taught the boys how to actually get into the car and work on things. And I'll do more about that tomorrow when I talk about marriage. But I would have involved him more in it and made a better atmosphere for him that way. And I would have made better time for devotionals. We are a preaching family, so it seems like something really not smart to say or unnatural to say, but we didn't always do a family devotional time. Mark and I didn't always take time together to study the Bible together. It was more hit or miss, or we each kind of do it on our own type of thing. So I definitely would have done that, like what Janaea said. They started the day with family devotional time. It's kind of how we give to the Lord, that we don't want to give the Lord what's left over after we've done everything else as far as contribution is concerned. We want to give to him first. So if I gave my day to him first, and whatever else we got done, we got done. I would do that differently for sure as far as the home is concerned. School things, there weren't as many co-ops back then in the places where we lived, but had I do it over again now, I would have gotten them involved in more co-ops, that they would have an opportunity to learn from someone other than me who may have been able to teach some things better than what I did. So that may have been something I did. I was not the greatest record keeper in the world, so I might have done a little bit better with that. Not that I've needed it tremendously as far as, when you do a transcript for going off to college, I just did John's for UAH, which is the most intensive transcript I've ever done. So if you're going to send your children to UAH, they have their own transcript that you send to them, and you need to list the books you used and not, and just whatever grade you figured they got. Some things we didn't grade per se, so I'm just going, he got a 95 in that, I know how much knowledge he has. So, but they're not asking to see test scores, so there you go. You know your kids, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but I may have done a better job just to have more things like writing samples and stuff like that. I wasn't as good. Having 5 kids, there was a lot of paper, and I didn't always keep all of it as well. Maybe I should have oh, look, John wrote this when he was 5. You know what I mean? Or drew this picture when he was 5. So I may have done a better job at that. Maybe gotten the kids involved with sports. It was always something where the sports would be on Wednesday night, and so we kind of shied away from that. But they also didn't have homeschool sports leagues. I mean, they have that now, where they have homeschoolers that do sports together. It was, back when I started homeschooling, it was all, your child has to be in public school for this many hours before they can participate in the sports in that area. So, but now there's all kinds of homeschool groups that get together that do sports. So I probably would do that with one if it interested them, not force them into it if they had an interest in it, you know. But I will say, not let it take over our lives. All right, and that's what you see a lot of is some of the activities we can get involved in means we're not eating dinner together at night, we're rushing off to the next thing, we're never home at the same time as dad is. So that's my only caution about activities outside the home if they're taking away from the family centered around the home. So anyway, and then, so that's home things and school things and now me things. I probably would have done a better job of arranging for me to have a little bit of time, you know. And I know that Janaea was talking how Melvin took the kids and that she had like this whole week without them to help prepare her for coming here because he was doing stuff with them. But even just a half an hour to an hour a day that I could have arranged somewhere in that day to say, okay, Mommy's going off into a room by herself and having some quiet time to either Bible study, maybe nap, you know, just listen to music or do something for me, or Mommy's going out for, you know, half an hour to an hour, go walk in the park by myself. Just, you need to take care of you. It's hard because if you're a Christian, you're participating in Christian activities, and it doesn't matter if you're a preacher's wife or not, you're all involved in stuff, and you're taking care of these littles and pouring everything you can into taking care of them. You're trying to be a good wife and be there for your husband. And you got to look out for you, though, too. And do stuff for yourself to help you refill, take a breath, so you can then do that even better. So I would have done that. And then I'm going to go with what Julia led off with. I would show myself more grace. Now, I was good at saying, there's a 1/4 inch of snow on the ground. If it's packable, I can hit you with a snowball. We're having a snow day, okay, for the first one of the year. We didn't do that every time there was a 1/4 inch. But definitely, you know, they always say homeschoolers don't get snow days. Yes, they should, okay? If you got snow, take the day off, make some hot chocolate, get your babies outside, come in. My children will tell you, hot chocolate, they have peanut butter crackers and toast, okay? And that's what a snow day is. We go outside, we dig tunnels, we build forts, we have a snowball battle. The rule was from the neck down. I've gotten hit in the face more times than I can tell you. But anyway, but snow days, that would be in front of a fire reading books all day if it was not packable snow and I just felt like having snow. Do the things that are going to help you to then bond with your kids, okay? John and I are getting to the end. I've got 2 months left of homeschooling, people, okay? Then I'm done my homeschooling career, okay? I'm not going to tear here, but anyway. So, but it's hard. This last year has been hard because he's 18 and he's an adult, right? Right? No. Okay. But he also wants to be a kid again, okay? I'm telling you, he's stuck between those two things. He knows he's off to college next year, but part of him doesn't want to do it. See, I got so far with him. But he still wants to be a kid. He still wants to be loved. But it's been hard. Okay, that's where I was going. I'm fine now. Okay, so it's been hard because you do that. He wants to be done. He wants to be done homeschooling because he's really tired of homeschooling. And he's tired of me being his teacher. I'm a little tired of being his teacher. But those are the days we take a break. We say, okay, we're not doing that today. We're going to do something fun today. We're going to go. You build your rockets. I'll come watch you do your rockets. I'll video you doing your rockets. We'll talk about the physics behind it and do physics in a way. But what I'm saying is it's show yourself some grace. So show them some grace. Okay? And when you don't get it perfect, you're not going to get it perfect. You're going to do something completely wrong and completely upside down and backwards. Show yourself the grace the Lord shows you. Okay? All right, I'm done. I'm going to go wipe my face.
Marcia?
Hi, I'm Marcia Weeks, and I I'm a mom to two. I have an 11-year-old and almost 7-year-old, and we've been homeschooling from the beginning. So, so this is we're in our 7th year right now, and so I just thought I'd focus on one thing. If I could do it over, if I could do it differently, I think I would spend less time on worry and guilt, and just make more time to just enjoy the time with my children. I know like that as homeschooling moms, there's like no shortage of things for us to worry about. You know, sometimes we worry we're doing too much, and then sometimes we worry we're not doing enough. And it's easy for us to feel guilty about things. We feel guilty that if we don't accomplish everything we plan to for the day, we can feel guilty about it. You know, if we're not doing well at managing everything, taking care of the home, and also like teaching and, you know, taking care of our husbands, that can also give us guilt as well. So I do think that those feelings, that they come from a place of love and concern, but and let's be honest, like when we take on that responsibility to homeschool, it is a big responsibility. But I think when we dwell in that worry and that guilt, we're missing the mark, because we know that God has called us not to worry. But instead, what we need to do is to put our trust in Him and to seek Him in everything. So I had a scripture that I thought I'd share about that. So it's Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7 to 8. It says, But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when the heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So I'd like to just encourage us, myself included, to just allow or trust in God to be our remedy for that worry and guilt that we feel from time to time. I know like we are in our 7th year, and I think I've gotten better at it over the years, but like I'm nowhere perfect as far as that is concerned. From time to time it still creeps in, but some things I say that would help or that has helped me is to just remember to pray constantly about it and about our homeschool, and to dwell on the Word, look for encouragement there. Focus on the positives. If we focus on what goes wrong, you know, that can be very discouraging sometimes. So focus on what's going right, and just think about all the blessings, you know, that comes from spending this time with your children and homeschooling them. And find another mom that can encourage you, but also try to be an encouragement to somebody else as well. So 2 days ago, we were on our way to Bible class, and I overheard my daughter in the back talking to my son, and she was telling him that she wanted to homeschool all the way through high school until she goes off to college. I thought, like, to me, like, it wasn't necessarily a good day that day, because I was trying to get ready to come here, and it was very stressful, and I was trying to get us to do all the things before I had to leave, and so it wasn't really the best day, but it really blessed me to hear her say that, and to see that even though, like, I wasn't feeling that great about the day, she still had confidence in what we were doing, and, you know, she was enjoying it. So that was really encouraging to me. So I'll just end with a scripture. It's Philippians 1, verse 6, and it says, I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. So I pray that we can all view our efforts as homeschooling as a good work, because it is. And that we can all be confident that God will see us through to a successful completion if we trust in Him.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for your being from different walks of life, different years of experience, different personalities of children. That's why it's amazing to be together, because we're all benefiting from each other's experiences. So I really appreciate your openness, your honesty, and your wisdom. I looked at Jennifer and I said, before Amber came up, I said, I'm kind of almost a veteran because I'm almost done and I'm right with you. So I'm going to add 2 things, but you know, last year, if you were with us, you saw me break down when I was talking about my 17-year-old at the time pulling out his Hot Wheel cars because he just got this nostalgia. And it's like, it is the same thing. You want to be a kid, but you want to be done too. Yep. So tomorrow we're going to spend a few minutes praying for our seniors who are going to be going to college, or even if they're not going to college, if they're entering adulthood of some, just whatever path they take. I would, two things, and this is really minor, but I would try to use the term doing school less. I came from a public school background. I was public schooled. I taught in the public school. I taught at my kids' school. But then we all came home together. Thank you. Am I black all over the place?
No, you're not. You're good.
And so it was real easy for me to just to say, you know, we're going to start school at, or today we're not going to do school because it's a sick day, or, you know, we're going to count this as a school day because we're going to PTP. I would try to, especially if you're just starting out and your kids don't know any different, because mine knew about going to school, to not say that and just use more family language about, well, what are you going to learn about today? Or let's go learn with Daddy today. We're going to go to his work, blah, blah, blah. Or let's go learn with Papa today. We're going to be in the garden today. Or let's learn about President Lincoln today. That's just, and nobody ever told me that. It's just a simple thing I have in my heart and in my mind, because you want your kids, part of the reason I think we choose to homeschool is, number one, to spend more time with our kids, number two, to instill the word of God in them, and number three, to hopefully get them to love learning of all kinds and from all different kinds of people. And so to do that, I feel like we need to stop putting things in a box of school, because the whole reason we're homeschooling is not to do school. We want to learn together and build our family together. So it's very semantical, I know, but I would just try to catch yourself and maybe say that a little more often with your kids. And, you know, grandparents, aunts, uncles, elders, people around us that were raised the old way, you know, they're going to say, well, what are you doing in school, or what grade are you? You know, it's just common language. But together, just emphasize learning and having fun. And then the second thing would be, just because you're homeschooling, and you have a flexible schedule, doesn't mean you have to say yes to that opportunity. I am not trying to toot my own horn, but I do love a good service project or a good visit to the hospital. But just because I can pack up my math books, my Math UC workbook, and have my kid on the floor while I visit so-and-so, doesn't make it the best case scenario. One of my kids can learn upside down, hanging off the tailgate. One of my kids needs, you know, a quiet room. Everybody's different. And so I might give myself a little more grace as far as, it doesn't work for me this week, or it doesn't work for me today. You know, just because I'm presented with the opportunity to do good doesn't mean I have to do it that way that day. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for the 4 speakers that were up here?
I do.
Yes.
I'm brave. The second speaker, I didn't write her name down.
Marcia?
No.
Dawn.
Dawn. Oh yeah, Dawn. Hi.
Sorry, I got my order wrong.
Okay,
so
Dawn talked about. You mentioned about how when
can you
Dad
ask your
comes
question? This I'll be like some talk show host. Well, somebody else might have the question too.
home. Okay, so you talked about when Dad comes home, it's an interruption.
Yes.
Instead of using him to learn.
Yes.
But like I do everything. I do math. I do everything. So do you have practical ways of how to actually incorporate that, other than separate stuff outside, like changing the tire and that kind of thing?
I'm going to hit that more tomorrow.
More tomorrow. Okay, I can wait.
In the afternoon.
Okay.
So
She will be talking to the whole group about marriage, and so she's going to hit
it's
that.
called Make Room for Daddy, and that's for a reason. So
Anybody else?
Okay, that's great.
Okay.